Why does everyone think you're in charge of the finances? I mean, everyone...
Yeah, no, this is something I've begun to realize because Cody was always telling everybody that I was somehow calling the shots on the money.
But she's like, I saw where all the money was going, and how much money Cody took and how much money Robyn took was a lot more than you were taking. We never knew what the other wives were getting money-wise. We just understood what we had, but Janelle saw it all. And Janelle doesn't say much, and she's very tight-lipped.
Janelle Brown has just opened the door to the family's deepest financial secrets, and what she discovered will leave your jaw hanging open, shocked, speechless. Imagine the scene. Late at night, Janelle sits at her kitchen table, reading glasses gently perched on her nose, surrounded by stacks of old joint account statements. She's always been the careful one, the guardian of numbers. But lately, something has felt off about the Coyote Pass bills. Determined to untangle the confusion, she meticulously combs through each line, highlighting entries as she goes. And suddenly, there it is. A startling pattern emerges, shining unmistakably, like a neon sign in the darkness.
Robyn never received any of the money. When we bought our houses, Robyn's kickback from the house went to other family members.
Boutique bags here, luxury home accents there, and one eye-popping transfer marked Coyote Pass Development Fund, somehow ending up in Robyn's personal account. Janelle's heart skips. Her instincts kick in. She keeps going, organizing every detail into clean, color-coded PDF folders. Because when you're ready to face the fire, you bring the receipts. By morning, under those unforgiving studio lights, Janelle sits tall, eyes locked on the camera, voice steady. I traced every penny, she says, and every trail leads straight to Robyn. Silence. You could hear a pin drop. Boutique charges on days Cody claimed the grocery budget was stretched thin. Furniture expenses that read more like a showroom catalog than a necessity. And then there's that wire transfer, so massive it looks like a down payment on a mansion, disappearing into Robyn's name under the guise of Coyote Pass. Janelle's final line doesn't come with anger. It lands with the quiet weight of truth. They painted me as the money gatekeeper, but the real shopping spree? That was someone else's art form. She closes the folder with a crisp snap. And just like that, the internet catches fire.
It was like, oh, okay. Because I think that he thought that I was keeping money from him or from the family. I'm like, no, let me show you what I have contributed.
Women on Facebook are comparing spreadsheets. TikTokers, yes, even the over 40 crowd, are trading their own family finance horror stories. And the question echoing across every comment section, how long has this been going on? Robyn, you might want to mute those notifications because Janelle just woke up every penny-watching woman in America. And once the financial dragon wakes up, she does not go back to sleep. So let's roll up our sleeves and follow the numbers, because these statements reveal more than any family sit-down ever could. Janelle laid it all out with clinical precision. Mortgage files from Flagstaff, boutique receipts, Coyote Pass ledgers, each pile color-coded, every withdrawal flagged. First stop, the boutique column, a parade of purchases that reads like a luxury shopping montage. Silk scarves on Tuesday, artisan jewelry by Friday, and $700 cashmere throws landing the following week. Every shipment addressed to Robyn. Even on days Cody swore the family card was maxed buying frozen pizzas. Next, the home improvement file. Remember when Cody said they were keeping upgrades modest? Janelle's printouts beg to differ. One receipt? Nearly $8,000 on designer light fixtures, all while her own refrigerator clung together with duct tape because the joint funds were frozen. Then there's a landscaping bill, so extravagant it could fund a semester of college, paid in full, right out of the family pot. But the real jaw-dropper? It's tucked inside the Coyote Pass folder, a wire transfer labeled Development Fund, comfortably in the six-figure zone. The source? The family LLC. The destination? An account titled Brown Row Robyn Holdings. No co-signers, no group approval, just one click. Cody's electronic signature and silence from everyone else.
Cody. And there was no way I wanted to be tied to him in any way, shape, or form. And I did not like to deal with him at all on anything, and especially on finances. No, thank you.
Why? Because Janelle flagged other transfers too. Smaller, quieter, but just as telling. Like breadcrumbs dropped along a trail, they all led to the same destination. Ever thorough, she cross-checked those dates with the family calendar. A boutique splurge. Same weekend Cody claimed he was budgeting with the boys. A hefty landscaping invoice, lined up perfectly with Robyn's post about recharging at home. When you map it all out, the pattern stares back at you. The more the household cut back, the more Robyn's wish list seemed to grow. On camera, Janelle didn't shout. She simply held up the folders and let the pages speak for themselves. This wasn't gossip. This was documentation. This was every woman's financial gut check. While the rest of them cinched their belts, someone else was busy ordering a custom gold buckle. And every woman who's ever pinched pennies while someone else lived large, she felt that moment deep in her bones. Now, let's hop back for a second. To really feel Janelle's fury, you have to rewind to the day she proudly stepped into the role of family bookkeeper. Picture it, a modest living room, the hum of kids doing homework, and Janelle, legal pad in hand, raising her voice above the noise to volunteer. Cody beamed. Robyn gave that polite little nod, and the other wives exhaled like a burden had just lifted. Janelle's knack for order felt like a gift. She tracked every bill, built a rainy day fund, even taught the teens the difference between debit and credit. For years, that system ran smoother than Grandma's sewing machine. But then, the glitches. A boutique charge she didn't recognize, a late notice on the property taxes she was sure she'd already scheduled. Little ripples in what used to be still waters, and her intuition? It started ringing alarm bells.
Payment.
She had too much influence on our money, and in the end, we're just getting it straightened out at the end.
At
Cody
first, Janelle brushed it off. The confusion, the discrepancies. Cody would casually dismiss her questions, his voice smooth and untroubled. Just a bank glitch, honey. Don't stress. And Janelle, wanting desperately to believe him, clung tightly to trust. Trust was her thing. Meticulous, careful, organized. That was Janelle. But every time she opened the monthly statements, new cracks appeared. The joint account dwindled lower than her painstaking calculations ever predicted, and Cody's promised deposits? They stayed just that. Promises, never realities. She still remembers that night vividly. Bills scattered across their dining room table, lamplight casting long, uneasy shadows across the room. Cody strolled by, humming lightly, carefree as if the weight of those overdue bills simply didn't exist. With hesitation, she pointed out an overdraft fee. Cody waved it off with that easy charm of his. Probably a clerical error. You worry too much. It felt like a gentle pat on the head, the kind you'd give a curious child asking why the sky is blue. But beneath that gentleness, something stung. Still, Janelle chose belief over suspicion, because that's what partners do, isn't it? They trust each other, even when doubts whisper louder with each passing month. Fast forward to now, and Janelle finally recognizes the feeling that once slipped through her fingers like water. It was betrayal hidden behind a reassuring smile. All those clerical errors, piled up precisely because Cody and Robyn counted on her being too responsible, too trusting, too loyal to push back loudly. By handing her the checkbook, they'd slyly handed her the blame. And now, holding the evidence tightly, Janelle feels the shock harden into something colder, sharper, a steely resolve. She refuses to bear the weight of scapegoat any longer. And speaking of Cody, He was always particularly skilled at one magic trick, making accountability vanish. Anytime one of his wives questioned an unusual charge, Cody had his line ready, delivered with a charming half smile. Ask Janelle. She's the accountant. It sounded flattering at first. After all, being trusted felt good. But gradually, that friendly redirection solidified into a brick wall, impossible to climb over or break through.
There's no reason for them to think that I wasn't going to be fair.
Well, it feels like there was some distrust there that you weren't going to be
It's
fair.
because Janelle and Mary are both leaving me going, wish I had some way to get alimony.
A late mortgage payment. Well, Janelle must have mixed up the dates. An unexplained dip in the emergency fund. She probably moved it to savings. Cody's implications were subtle yet unmistakable. Whenever something felt off, Janelle was quietly steering the ship. He repeated it so smoothly, so effortlessly, that even the family began echoing his words, unaware they were reinforcing the deception. It was textbook gaslighting, gently placing blame until everyone began doubting their own memories. Janelle vividly recalls one Sunday dinner. Christine casually questioned why the Coyote Pass bill was higher than usual. Cody chuckled lightly, leaning back with an easy confidence. Trust me, Janelle balanced it. Christine, reassured, moved on to dessert. Never knowing Janelle hadn't even seen the invoice. Cody relied on Janelle's deep instinct to keep harmony, betting she wouldn't make a scene. He didn't limit his tricks to family dinners. Publicly, whenever fans online raised eyebrows about the murky family finances, Cody posted charming videos praising Janelle's sharp financial mind. At face value, it seemed complimentary, even supportive. But beneath that pleasant surface, he quietly set Janelle up to shoulder any potential blame. If ever an audit knocked at their door, Cody had months of glowing testimonials ready, casually pointing, "See? I trusted her." Meanwhile, Robyn quietly enjoyed new patio furniture, safely removed from suspicion. The trick's cunning lay in its repetition. Say it enough, and even the person blamed starts to believe it. For a while, Janelle did. She'd lie awake, replaying every receipt, wondering if the mistakes were truly hers. But now, holding firm evidence in her hands, she sees the spin clearly. Cody's elaborate smokescreen, diverting attention from the real financial trail. And once you've seen the magician's secret, the magic vanishes, leaving only clarity and resolve behind.
Operates. And if the land isn't getting paid off, and if Cody can't come up with a paper trail if a wife were to ask for an accounting of where their money was going, I mean, that would all be Janelle's fault.
The moment Janelle revealed her findings, Christine's eyes sharpened instantly with recognition. She'd lived this story before, just with different details. Years ago, when Cody labeled her as overly emotional, he'd used her deepest fear, the ache of feeling unwanted, as his weapon. If Christine dared question him, his affection vanished like smoke in the wind. Only now does she realize that while she was consumed by lost kisses and vanished tenderness, Janelle was quietly agonizing over empty bank columns. Same game, new target. Mary, ever the peacemaker, sat quietly absorbing Janelle's revelations. But midway through, she exhaled, a heavy sigh carrying the weight of 3 decades. She murmured about the property lots, recalling Cody's insistence that her piece of Coyote Pass land needed downsizing, supposedly for tax reasons. At the time, it felt like another painful stumble on their already rocky path. But seeing Janelle's numbers laid bare, Mary began to suspect it had been yet another sleight of hand, a strategic shuffle of land values to quietly pad personal gains and shift blame neatly elsewhere. The 3 women shared their stories like puzzle pieces scattered across a kitchen table, each fragment clicking sharply into place. Christine's loss of affection, Mary's shrinking property, Janelle's ghostly boutique expenses, patterns emerging clearly and painfully. every wound Cody inflicted was tailored to strike precisely where it would hurt most. Affection for Christine, security for Mary, financial integrity for Janelle. Each bruise carefully deflected scrutiny away from Cody and Robyn, quietly elevating their comfort at the expense of everyone else's trust.
Mary is genuinely surprised to learn that Janelle isn't controlling the purse strings. The fact that Mary was funneling money and not asking questions is shocking.
By the end of the conversation, the air in the room shifts. Shock makes way for something colder, stronger, resolve. Christine scrolls through her phone and pulls up an old text thread. Cody, blaming a Coyote Pass survey delay on some vague accounting mix-up. Janelle gestures toward her printouts. Same month as the landscaping splurge. Mary, silent until now, slides her property documents into the growing pile. What once felt like scattered stories now looks like a coordinated playbook. This isn't random. It's a pattern, clear as glass. For the first time in years, all three original wives are looking at the same picture. And that shared clarity, it's more powerful than any apology Cody might scrape together. Because once you map the manipulation, you also see the path out. Now, let's revisit the moment that still breaks hearts, Garrison's funeral. The day was meant to honor a life taken too soon. But while the family gathered in grief, Cody and Robyn somehow managed to center themselves. Remember the photos? Cody's hand resting on Robyn's knee, her head gently tucked against his shoulder, more Sunday picnic than burial. At the time, it felt awkward, maybe tone-deaf affection. But now, through Janelle's bank logs, that moment hits differently. Here's why. The same week as the funeral, a 5-figure withdrawal left the family account under the label, emergency travel expenses. But according to Janelle's records, airfare and basic lodging barely scratched the surface of that amount. The rest? A Home Depot charge for patio upgrades, a boutique stop in Vegas. Yes, while Cody wept about unity and loss, joint funds quietly financed comfort for one household. Christine remembers standing a few rows back, holding Mary's trembling hand, while Cody fussed over Robyn's coat in the wind. And now she wonders, was that tender performance also a diversion? A way to pull every gaze toward their grief and away from the questions no one had thought to ask yet, about the money that vanished right alongside their trust.
There's a bias, and I don't want to do that anymore. All I can think is that it's somehow driven by his ego. In some regards, especially coming from the culture that we come from, he's a failure to have lost all his marriages.
There's a bias, Mary says, her voice low but certain, and I don't want to carry that anymore. The words linger, heavy and honest. Janelle nods, because deep down, she's been thinking the same thing, that all of it, the silence, the dismissals, the sidestepping, has less to do with family and more to do with Cody's ego. In the world they come from, losing your marriages isn't just unfortunate, it's shameful. And Cody, he's been spinning plates to avoid admitting he dropped them all. Janelle remembers that week clearly. She'd sent Cody emails, trying to coordinate the basics, funeral logistics, travel details, expenses. His reply? Too busy with preparations. But those so-called preparations, they included a deluxe floral order, billed to the joint account and shipped straight to Robyn's door. Mary shakes her head, the irony almost too cruel to speak aloud. Garrison's death should have been a moment that pulled the family close. Instead, it deepened the cracks. Money that could have honored his memory, maybe even set up a scholarship, was spent on designer throw pillows. Cody's public grief masked private spending, and for the wives, that realization cuts deep. What should have been sacred mourning became another entry in Cody's manipulation playbook. Emotional theater for the cameras, financial sleight of hand just out of frame. And for viewers who watched those funeral clips and felt something off, they weren't wrong. Janelle's receipts confirm what our instincts already knew. The performance was never just for grief. When Janelle's bank log bombshell dropped, the sister wives community didn't just react. They mobilized. Reading glasses went on. Coffee cups refilled. Color-coded sticky notes came out like armor. On Facebook, seasoned moms and quilting groups paused their patchwork to post boutique invoices beside Flagstaff home tours. "Ladies, does this lamp look budget-conscious to you?" one asked. Replies rolled in faster than cookies at a church swap. "That's a $400 Tiffany replica. I have the catalog." Meanwhile, on TikTok, Gen X creators fired up their ring lights and got to work. One video featured a former bookkeeper, her hair in a practical bun, dissecting every line of Janelle's PDFs with a digital highlighter. "See this line? Development Fund, my foot," she says, tapping the screen like she's scolding her teen for lying about curfew. The clip goes viral before lunch, and Reddit? It turns into a hive of amateur forensic accountants. Users match county land filings with eerie precision. They screenshot jewelry identical to Robyn's latest selfie. They calculate grocery discrepancies down to the dollar. If the IRS needs backup, they know where to look. Because when the truth shows up in spreadsheets, women know exactly what to do. Break out the receipts, share the screenshots, and tell the story no one wanted to hear, but everyone needed to see.
It was like Janelle's mom told me, "Hey, you better cool this." We might have gotten some bad places as a family because I always envied those families that could actually do the PDA.
One thread titled, "Who Paid for the Cashmere Throw?" hits 500 comments in just 2 hours. It's half speculation, half crowdsourced math tutoring. Even YouTube can't sit this one out. Longtime recap channels bring in actual CPAs to explain how, without oversight, a family LLC can quietly morph into someone's personal piggy bank. But what sets this frenzy apart isn't the drama, it's the demographic fueling it. These are women who know how to stretch a dollar. They budget for 4 kids, negotiate mortgage rates, and can tell you the price of butter at 3 different stores. They're not chasing rumors, they're chasing receipts. And when Dollar Bank Gate trends on Twitter, it's not because of shock. It's because it confirms what these women already suspected. But the real momentum? It's not online. It's in private Facebook chats. It's in group texts, buzzing late at night. It's in whispered PTA hallway convos. Because when women of a certain age smell financial funny business, they don't just tweet. They mobilize. They pull files. They call lawyers. They label folders with tabs and timestamps. Robyn may have muted her notifications, but the National Sisterhood just flipped on the porch light and opened Excel. And if Cody thought this would blow over, he clearly underestimated the power of grown women armed with spreadsheets and a righteous sense of fairness. So let's put down the gossip teacup for a second and pick up something sturdier, our financial self-defense mug. Because what Janelle uncovered isn't just poor bookkeeping, it's financial abuse, and it happens in more households than anyone likes to admit. Here's how it works, plain and simple. Step 1, centralize the family money. For the Browns, that meant a joint LLC, one pot, one shared trust. Step 2, appoint the fall gal. Enter Janelle. Responsible, careful, trusted with the books. Step 3, quietly funnel money into the favored corner. Boutique bags, backyard makeovers, all while deflecting any questions with a smile and a breezy, "Talk to Janelle, she's in charge." Step 4, when the bills bounce and eyebrows raise, blame the fall gal. She's too loyal, too worn out, too blindsided to scream audit. This isn't a storyline, it's a warning. And now that the red flags are waving, a lot more women are tuning in. Not just for the drama, but for the lesson.